Hi everyone, thank you very much for stopping by and returning to the Old World. As more and more information has come to light over how Warhammer the Old World is going to be played, it has led to an interesting question, and that is, will the Great Weapon dominate the fields of Warhammer once again? Now, I thought this is a particularly interesting sounding topic, so decided I would test the theory. However, it must be noted that there are some quite significant unknowns at this point when it comes to the rules. The most significant two factors to bear in mind here are, one, we don't know if step up is going to be a thing, and secondly, we don't know what the armor bane or armor penetration values of weapons are going to be. Now, historically, it was easy to tell. A strength 4 hit, -1 to the armor save, strength 5 -2, strength 6 -3, etc. But by looking at the article on shooting, we can see that that's not always the case. The longbow, for example, being strength 3, but having an armor bane value of 1. This marks a big difference from the Warhammer that we know and possibly love from years gone by. So let's have a quick look at some of the back of envelope maths I've put together to see just how devastating the various weapon options might be. For the purposes of this example, I've assumed a unit of 20 Chaos Warriors has gone crashing in to an opposing unit. I've also assumed that they have a full front rank, and that the stats are materially similar to those from 8th edition. So with that in mind, I'm looking at a unit with a weapon skill of 5 and a baseline strength of 4. For the purposes of this example, the Chaos Warriors are deployed in a 10x2 formation. They have 2 attacks each and have a full command. Now, that might not be an entirely legal formation, but it is wider than it is deep, therefore seems like it could be okay for a close order unit of infantry. Let's look now at the first example. In this case, the warriors are fighting against a humanoid sized opponent with toughness of 3, a 5-up save, fighting on a 5x4 pattern with 25mm bases. Again, there's yet another assumption we have to make in here regarding base sizes, but as Chaos Warriors have always had larger bases than humans, I'm assuming that is the case here. So that will reduce the number of models in base-to-base contact. Looking at their 8th edition weapon options, we can see that it's the additional hand weapons which are pumping out the most number of attacks and therefore the most number of hits. It's though when we get into wounds and saves when things start to look a little bit more interesting. When it comes to saves, I've assumed that a halberd has an armor bane value of 1 and a great weapon an armor bane of 2. It should be noted at this stage that any weapon option other than hand weapon shield does sacrifice some of the durability of the unit because it will have a reduced armor save. You can see then that the additional hand weapon option will give less than 2 kills over and above what a hand weapon can issue out, and therefore might not be worth discarding that durability. However, you're getting up to nearly 3 models extra killed with a halberd and 4.1 extras killed with a great weapon. This suggests that the loss of durability and possible initiative hits could well be worth it. But what about something a little bit tougher? How about something like a dwarf, say, with a 5-up armor save? Now, attacks here are consistent to the number of attacks that would be put out against a human-sized figure because we're still looking at 25mm bases. Hits are going to be similar numbers because we're looking at weapon skill 5 v a weapon skill of 4, and it doesn't make a huge difference. We're still looking at that 3+ to hit. Wounds start to look a little bit more interesting, however. Additional hand weapons are no longer the main causes of wounds because of the bonuses to strength that the great weapon gives, and that advantage suddenly becomes that little bit more important. And the additional assumed armor bane or armor penetration value really starts to come to its own, discounting the armor entirely of the dwarf, meaning around 2 more casualties than the halberds would cause, and significantly more casualties than either the hand weapon or additional hand weapon can provide. Now this turns me to perhaps an even more elite dwarf, one with a 4-up armor save. And here there is that clear winner, that the great weapon is going to carve absolute murder through the unit of dwarves by comparison to anything that the other weapon systems can provide. Now I could run these numbers multiple different ways for multiple different scenarios, but I think it's fairly clear that against more and more elite opponents, the great weapon is going to do more damage. And even against the weaker opponents, they're still going to be putting out more than other weapon options that are available. So what does this mean? Well, I think the comments are correct as far as we can see based on the information we've got right now, in that great weapons are going to have a huge potential to do a lot more damage than other weapon options that are out there. The only thing that could really, I think, swing this will be what extra rules great weapons have. So they are going to be two-handed, so that means no shields. I'm pretty confident on that. But what we don't know is, will they be striking last? Will it be an initiative hit? How does it interact with a unit getting the charge? These are rules that will matter going forward, and players will then have to assess the situation again once we've got this more complete information, which I would be highly surprised if that was only upon release of the full rules. But based on what we've got, great weapons, looking a solid choice, could well once again be a king of the battlefield. If you've enjoyed this video, and perhaps some of my other videos speculating on what I think the rules may or may not look like as we come towards release of Warhammer the Old World, and please do check out the back catalogue. There's plenty of videos to have a look at. If you liked all of those sort of things, or would like to just support the channel, please consider subscribing. It's one of the best ways, along with giving you a few minutes of your time to support the channel. All that remains for me to say is thank you once again for listening. I am returned to the old world. Have a great day.